Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are all having a great start to your Tuesday. My name is Dawn Mckee, and I'm the Surface Artistic Ambassador. And I'm going to share with you guys today our blowout system. As you have any questions, please make sure to drop your comments and questions down below in the chat box. We've got Jackie Yoakum helping me out so that she can be able to take any of your questions, as well as we're going to be giving away 3 sets of blowouts. So you want to make sure that you're commenting below and join us. So we're super excited. I got lots to share with you today. All right, so first things first, I want to share with you how you would use blowout. So first things first, we're going to get our hair prepared to be able to work with blowout. So I have my hair here on the right side is completely wet, ready to go. And the very first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that I prepare with my leave-in conditioner. So I'm going to choose my favorite surface leave-in conditioner, our Basu Moisture Mist. And with that, that's going to really help detangle and give me great moisture. The next thing that we're going to be doing here is we're going to be working with our Surface Blowout Primer. So this works with cannabis sativa seed oil that really helps to infuse the inside of the hair, the cortex, with the cannabis sativa seed oil so that it protects the hair from heat. It starts that style memory in, and it's the most key important thing to giving longevity to our blowout. If you're just joining me here, make sure you drop your comments and questions below. I'll be watching those, as well as we have Jackie Yoakum from Surface Hair as well on our chat box, and she's going to help me with any questions, as well as we are giving away 3 full sets of blowouts. You want to make sure that you're dropping your names or your comments below so that we can help you with that. So I've gone ahead and I've placed in my primer. The next thing I want to do is choose my favorite surface styling product. So here today I'm working with our Reflect Gel. So I'll always go moisture mist, my leave-in conditioner, my primer, then my styling products. The primer helps the styling products to adhere into the hair. So as I start to really work that through, squeezing it in through the ends, working it all the way through, I'm getting that prep work done. Now, when we get into our blowout, I really strongly believe that finishing is the icing on the cake. We do this beautiful cut color, as well as all these amazing things we do for our guests behind the chair. And the finish should be the most valuable, the most important, because now you're showcasing the work that you just created. So, or, even compare it to a family dinner. You set the table all beautifully, you want to show it off. So when I start thinking about my finish, what I really want to be able to do is, how do I want that hair to look? What movement do I want to see? And that's going to really project how I section the hair, how I work with it. And so what I want you guys to see is that we're working with what we call a contoured or an hourglass type blowout. So when I use my blowout sectioning, I'm working in triangles horizontally. So I start on the bottom here, working up into the middle of the ear, then I take the next section up, then I come back and keep working my way up. So when I go to the first section, I'm going to go ahead and take in my round brush. And I'm not going to blow dry this whole thing because I'm sure you guys don't want to see me sit and blow dry hair. I have lots of cool things planned for you today. But when we take a look, we're going to take our Surface TK2 2.5-inch round brush. And I'm going to be working with this, moving to the heavier side, which means that the heavier side, or the wider side of the triangle, is the way I'm going to position my brush. And just as we once all were in beauty school, don't forget about on base, off base, over directed, because that's really going to make or break your blowout. If you've ever had a guest say, you know what, oh my gosh, that looks so short, it might just be the way you blow dried it. So we want to make sure that we have the right base. We also want to make sure that our brush always works with the diameter and length of the brush, so we're never over taking hair onto that brush. And I'll go ahead right before I hit that round brush. This side has been dried to about 75%. So at this point, I'm going to take my primer and I'm going to mist it right onto that hair so it really can help to create that longevity and style memory. As I round the brush, I'm going to go ahead and take my blow dryer, just hovering over the top, and I'll come into the next section and make sure you let your hair cool completely as well. As I get into the next section, what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and take my primer, place it in, and now my brush is going to work the opposite direction. So what happens with this as we create different movements is the hair doesn't all just go to the back or to the front or straight down. It works one direction and to the other. So you get more of a natural fluid movement and the hair mixes together absolutely beautifully. So I'll share with you a little bit more here going into blowout. Now this is not an hourglass finish. I actually worked both sides the same going towards the front with a wand. But what I do want you to see is on the right hand side, I worked with only our moisture mist and our reflect gel. I love them both. Absolutely amazing styling products. I get lots of great shine in the hair. I get really good control and curl. But what's going to happen is if I keep brushing this out, now maybe you don't realize this, but your hands are the biggest sponges in the world because they, as soon as you start to touch the hair, they soak all that moisture out of the hair. And we need that moisture deep in the cortex in order to be able to hold on to style memory. And memory is when we squish something together, how much it actually springs back is going to be how much longevity there is in that curl or wave. So if I start to take my brush and I just start to brush it, and I don't put anything else in it throughout, my hands are completely dry. Over time, I'm going to kind of start to wear it. It's going to start to get a little frizzy, and that is just kind of normal wear because we're touching the hair and soaking up that moisture. Now, one thing I will tell you, and you'll see me if you've ever, if you're new to me, you can follow me on Dawn Mckee Surface Hair, either on Facebook or Instagram. But one of the things I always share with my attendees in classes is that I always work with something like Shine Wax on my hands or Basu oil. And the reason is it's a penetrating oil, it's a penetrating moisture. This is a very light wax. But as I'm touching her hair, I'm protecting it. So it's never going to deplete what I've already done. Now, in order to do that side today, I had to recurl it to show it to you. On the left side here, I have completely prepared the hair with everything blowout as well as the same styling products. So we used our moisture mist, we used our blowout primer, we used our reflect gel, we used all the same tools. What we did different was the blowout system is in place. So this is really going to give longevity to the styling products, longevity to your style memory, and so that as your guest is touching the hair, as they're wearing through it or day after day, it's going to maintain that moisture deep in the cortex. It does that with cannabis sativa seed oil. It's rich in omega 6s, keeps that and maintains that moisture. Now, I'm a super fine haired girl. My hair is so baby fine that normally one day, 2 days, maybe that is max that I could get out of my blowout or my curl. And, I set in a very light wave 2 days ago on purpose. And the reason is because I use the blowout system every day to maintain the wave. And it just keeps pushing right back into where it belongs. So watch this. Now this hair, as I shared, has been prepared with our blowout system and the reflect gel. It's also been combed through and brushed through many, many, many times. But what happens is as I mist or dry oil spray onto the hair, and I love to do this at night before I go to bed. So I'll go ahead and I'll just start to brush through this hair. And you can already see, look at the difference in the bounce of the wave. Now, as I start to mist that dry oil spray on, look what's going to happen. If I take my hands and I start to kind of pull that away, look at how much bounce is into that hair. The more I play with it, the more I can move that hair around and really push those waves in. It's a completely different, I know dark hair is a little harder to see here, but you can see that that is a completely different bounce than it was on the other side. So now another thing that we'll add in here is our texture spray. Our texture spray from the blowout system infuses the hair with volume, so you can see as it starts to push that hair up. So on day 2, day 3, when I want to get rid of my bed head, that's the first thing that I put at the root. Now make sure that you guys are commenting below, make sure that you're saying hello, ask your questions, make sure that you join us here and share, because we're going to be giving away 3 sets of the blowout system. So the first part of the blowout system, your shampoo and conditioner, which we just launched. This is going to prepare the hair for styling, and I love it in all hair types. My curls, my baby fine, my guests with coarser, heavier hair as well. And then you have the primer, the texture spray, and the dry oil spray. And in the new year, we have some new things coming. But I have some more magic for you. So stay tuned here. Don't go away. I've got a fun technique that we're going to work into, because I know I love to do updos. That's probably my biggest joy, is to be able to create long hair. So this was completely prepped with our blowout system. This is also going into the curls. We've started working with our dry oil spray. And when I set the curls here, I actually used our curls hairspray, and it's because it has vitamin K in it, which is rich in magnesium as well, and it helps to repair elasticity. And so as I'm working on a mannequin especially, that's important too when we're starting to work into our style memory. And until we have another little component, I'm going to be working with my curls hairspray. So I want to prepare my hands here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of that shine wax right into my hands. Um, I've already gone ahead and started this so we can make this pretty easy quick. We've curled this everything in a different direction. So I just used a wand, used my curls hairspray. And the first parting that I took is going to be from about top of the ear to top of the ear. We always want to treat the head as a whole. So what that means is that as soon as I reach the top of the ears, I need to start taking my sections all the way around, or somehow include them all together. That way I get a more seamless look, I get a more fluent look as well. And so what I've done here is I've created just some simple loops. The first one I started about middle of the section and came to the left of the nape. And then I took another section about 2 inches, about an inch and a half wide or so. So I divided it into 3 essentially, and I drew them all to the left because we're going to build in the left-hand side. Now, one of the biggest questions I ever get when it comes to updos is, where do you start? How do you know where you're going to go? And the coolest thing is that if you have an end result in mind, you have to build some sort of map or direction so that you always know where you're going to end up, right? So here, I know that I want this to load here in the nape area, and I want it to sit off to the side. I want some movement flowing through the top. I want a little bit of volume in my crown. And so I'm going to start my anchors in that nape area where I want it to live, and then everything else is going to draw to that point. Same thing if I wanted it to live on top. I would start on top, draw everything to it. The rest is all about prep and having a little fun. So first things first, to prep it, we would use our Trinity Dry Shampoo here. Now this is unique because our Trinity Dry Shampoo is not gritty, nor if I was to spray it on my shirt, you would never see any residue. It is actually invisible, and it's just preparing the scalp to absorb moisture, which means it's a proactive rather than a reactive, which means it's not going to work if I start using it 4 days in. I want to start using it from the day I blow dry so that it keeps the oils away rather than having to work harder to absorb them. The hair maintains softness. Then you can use your grip things like push powder or airlift, or you can go in with your texture spray. So we've created these great loops. Now you can see on the left-hand side, I've already got these kind of pre-twisted. So I'm going to come on over to the opposite side here. and I'm going to show you how I created the loops. So we're going to go ahead in with our dry oil spray first, just to give that hair that moisture it needs deep in the cortex, because remember, we don't want to deplete the inside of the hair. That's where our style memory lives. From there, I've got my shine wax on my hands, and I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 twists, and as I'm drawing them back, I've got them twisted a little bit to the right, just to start a twist. And then I'm going to cross the right over the left. And as I get them just kind of placed, I might start pulling those edges a bit. Now we'll go ahead in with our first elastic here. And we're going to go ahead and pinch right in that undulation. We're going to turn once, twice, and notice that I'm drawing this back where I want it to live. So I'm not doing it over here. I'm actually drawing it into the section where I want it to live. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this loop up so that I get a nice loop, let my ends hang free there, and I'm just going to let it hang. The last one that we're going to create here in this loop is in our crown area. So this might be where I'm going to go ahead and create some nice lift. You guys know how to backcomb if you would like that to happen, but I'm going to add my texture spray here, and we're just going to watch this infuse it with a little bit of texture and volume into that crown area so that as I start to work, we can build easily. Now, I'll show you a little tip you can use if you'd like a little bit more texture and finish to it. If you take the hair straight up into the sky, straight up from where it lives, 3 fingers, I call this the W push or the 3-finger push, and just gently take your fingers and work through them. As you do that, you're going to get some nice movement and separation. You're going to get a little bit of lift, and we're going to start to draw this right into the place where I want it. You can pull up your edges just by tugging on them a little bit. We'll work with our dry oil spray here, just for any areas where I might see any flyaways happening. That way I can control that easily, and then just pull those edges. Now I'm going to let this land probably right in the middle of where I want this to go. And we'll take another elastic. We're going to go ahead and create one more of those loops. So once I do this once, twice, third time we start to pull up, let the loose ends hang to its side, and now you're going to have these 5 loops. So here's a little bit of a magic trick for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a ribbon. We're going to go ahead and start feeding this behind the loop first, because I want to make sure it's kind of like if you were to sew something, you're going to take it in between and behind the elastic on this one, because I'm doing this first layer. And then we're going to lace it through these loops so that we can start drawing them together. So first things first, you're going to go ahead and take through the top section first. I'm crossing one, just like you would lace up a shoe. So you're going to take that next one from the left, and we're going to cross it through the right, okay? So you can kind of see where I'm going to go with this. As I'm tugging on this, we're going to go ahead and loop through the bottom one. And make sure you leave your ends loose. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take the opposite sections. So I've got my other 2 loops here underneath. So if you can't probably see this really good as much as I would like you to, but notice that I've got this all tugged down at the bottom. So each of the loops has been incorporated. So we're going to go ahead and tie tight until all of these are mixed together. Now you're going to cover up the ribbon once you start to section this together. Notice I've got my nice height here in the crown area. I have my loops on the back. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to take a little bit of our dry oil spray. I have my shine wax on my hands, and I'm going to start separating these. So I want to start kind of tugging them away from each other, just creating that little bit of a massage technique as well as I don't like to call it shredding, but I like to call this more like a bow tie technique, because as you would pull your bow tie apart from each other, you would go through this, and then you would just keep separating them. And look at how much amazing texture I can get out of this, right? So you can see how easily that was created. And I haven't put a single pin in it yet. So I love this question up here. Does it feel like I have product in my hair? Most clients don't like to feel like they have product. My hair is super baby fine, and this is day 3 for me. I set these light waves in on today's Tuesday, so that would be Sunday. And one of the things I love is I do not like to feel product in my hair. I don't like my hair to feel heavy, but I like it to last, and that's a big thing for working with fine hair. So even when I put in my dry oil spray, I do this at night. Now watch. So I hope that helps, but I have baby fine hair, and the last thing that I ever want is for my hair to start to break or pull or tug, and Surface products contain no plastics, no vinyl, nothing. So they are so good on the hair. So I hope you guys are liking this little updo that we're creating here. As I said, I've not put a single pin in this yet. But what do you think? Give it some love down on the bottom if you love the texture. Awesome. And so when we start to take in our sides, we're going to go ahead and take in a little bit more of our dry wax, or excuse me, our shine wax, just to make sure that my hands are prepared. And we're going to go ahead and just create some simple twists. You could put a braid in here or some other fun things, but I want to give you guys as much as I can here. So we're just going to go ahead and take a little bit of a twist. And as we start to twist, we're going to use our texture spray to be able to loosen that up. So with that, we pull our edges. And as we add in, we can go ahead and just start pinching. So we'll go ahead and pinch in through the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and just tuck that in there for a little bit more texture as we add it in. Now, if you guys are just joining us, make sure that you comment below. Make sure that you share that you're with us. I've got Jackie Yoakum here with me as well in our chat box, answering any questions that you might have, as well as sharing some more information on our blowout system. And we're gonna be giving 3 blowout sets away. So you're gonna wanna be able to have that. With that, I'm just gonna tuck these ends up. I'm finding a little section to pinch and to push, and we're gonna go ahead and just tuck that right into the side. You could embellish this very easily with a braid if you like. And we're gonna go ahead and do one more here as I go ahead and tuck that in. Now here is a little hot tip just here in the front. Whenever I like to pull tendrils, I like to usually pull them right at the corner here, the temple, or the ridge line. Usually those are the areas where we want them to be seen the most. And as I start to twist this, I'll start to pull those edges right away. Again, we're going to use our texture spray here from our blowout system. This is going to be able to give you some nice texture. And then once we get to the bottom, we go ahead and we pinch and we'll pull, maybe even allowing that to drop in, and we'll give it a couple pins. Now the cool part about all this is, you guys, you saw me put in about 3 pins in the back. There really wasn't any pins in the back. So you have this beautiful, soft, flowy texture, a lot of texture in the back, but using a ribbon loop. So here's some more here. If you guys are just joining us, I'm going to take you through the blowout system once more, and I'll show you just one more time here what we did with our blowout. when we working with different triangles. So as we come in, we've worked with these horizontal triangles, working back and forth, back and forth. And when that works there, we're going to be able to take and work in that direction of the wide side. So my round brush, we start with each of the sections. As we start to take that hair down, you're going to mist it with your primer, which is going to give you more slip. Now, someone had asked about frizzy flyaways at the very end. So when you're working with the blowout system, the best part about this is because you're infusing the hair deep in the cortex with that omega-6 that comes from the cannabis sativa seed oil, you're going to not have that frizz because it's going to really help to last into the hair. So it infuses that hair with the moisture. Now see, I'm working this direction. As I come back in on the opposite side, we're going to go ahead and mist our section with our blowout spray or primer spray. I like to then comb it through too because that distributes really, really well. The next section now is going to work in the opposite direction. So this creates an hourglass shape that works not only down or to the back or forward, but it mixes it so that it gives it an hourglass or more fluid movement to the hair. Now, another little hot tip there for any type of frizzing that happens at the very end of your blow dry is the very, very last bit of your blow dry. When you're just finishing that brush and you're getting ready to let it cool off a little bit, mist the hair with the blowout dry oil spray and let that really set in. That has made my life a whole lot different. So I love that at the very, very end of my blow dry. So I'm going to show you guys another little trick here. Now in the bottom here, we're working with just a simple hourglass shape. So just like in our blowout, I really love to have that movement moving both directions. So as I work through this, just to give some light texture to the hair, we're working with our wand, and then we're also working with our dry oil spray as our curling and setting. So heat protectant. So as I'm working with the dry oil spray, it's really protecting the hair against heat. It's allowing me to be able to touch the hair without it getting frizzy. Your hands have the biggest sponge as they soak up any of that natural moisture out of the hair. So we really want to be able to work with that to be able to protect it. So as I have blow dried this, we started out again with our blowout shampoo and conditioner. So this prepares the hair for styling. It infuses it with cannabis sativa seed oil, and I have to tell you, my fine hair loves it because it stays nourished and moisturized throughout the week, and so it makes my hair last even longer. We use our moisture mist, or another surface leave-in conditioner is going to be the next step. And then I want to use my primer while I'm blow drying. Then I layer my styling products over it. It helps them to adhere, helps it to dry faster, and it's quite awesome. So to create these waves, we did an up and down wand effect. So when I'm working with each of these sections, some of them are going to go under, some of them are going to go up. So with the wand, one little tip here is always make sure that the tip of the iron is facing the way you want the curls to fall. If you want them to fall forward, they should be wrapped with the wand facing that direction. So you wrap to that direction and let them fall off. Then on the opposite side, same thing. It should fall off to the back, and that will automatically make them fall different directions. Same thing with your curling iron, only it's the opposite because it's the handle. Wherever that handle pulls, you start to work through. Do you use wax spray on fine hair? We can actually. We have one called taffy wax spray, and the dry oil spray, they're dry. What I love about it is my fine hair, it's weightless. So when you're talking a difference about penetrating oils or weightless moisture, Surface uses only penetrating oils. So there's nothing in here that's going to lay heavy on the hair. You're not working with mineral oils, you're not working with plastics, you're not working with vinyl acrylics, which is usually what is going to cause that weighted feel to it or that greasy, oily feel. So it's definitely completely different. So we're using our dry oil spray here to give us some protection and to add some extra shine. And we're going to just take some random pieces here for you. The first one, I'm going to work over the top. Now, you can do a flat wrap here, or you can do a twisted wrap, or you can do a little bit of each. So if you start out with a flat wrap is going to be the hair remains flat all the way around. If you want a twisted wrap, it's going to twist as your hand moves. So your hand twists as you turn. So now my palm is up, now my palm is down, now my palm is down. I get those backwards all the time. It's all good. And then we let go. The difference between this becomes more of a wide, flatter wrap. When I unravel this, this is going to have a little bit more undulation or twist to it. So with that, that works two different ways. Now this one we flipped under, the next one we flipped up. So the next one we're going to take is going to go down. And just for fun, we'll choose a kind of flat to a twisted wrap. So I'll go flat first, and then when I get about halfway, when there's just a few inches, I'll twist the ends. So you'll get more of that flat at the top and then twisted at the bottom. I love how much volume this has without a lot of backcombing. That's the texture spray. That really gives us some good push. And the curl pattern that I'm using also helps to create volume and texture because you're not curling everything under, you're mixing it. So you're curling some down, some up, some to the left, some to the right. This allows that texture to come in. So with that, I'm going to take you into a little bit more here. So we want to use our dry oil spray, especially whenever we're separating curl, because this is really, again, going to help us work so that we don't take any of that moisture away from the hair. So that's important. We want to make sure that we are protecting the hair at all times. So just a nice light separation. And I'm going to take you through a little twisted braid here in the front. So I've already started this just simply for time's sake, and I've got my left hand side finished for you. So you can see this is what we're going to create. We're just going to create this light little bit of a twist. In the back, what we did was we took our crown. And remember, if you were joining us earlier, you saw me with our little bit of lift here in the back. So I just used that 3-finger push to create that bit of texture, an elastic, and then pushed it up. So easy to create, wasn't a lot of backcombing in there either, just for ease. You don't always have to add a ton of backcomb to add a ton of texture. So the very top piece here, I just took a very small section, created an elastic, and then we picked up another section underneath and added it in. So some key here is as I'm working with my texture spray, this is really going to help infuse the hair with volume. So watch in my hair how it starts to push that hair up just a bit already. So that's going to get rid of your bedhead in the morning. It also helps to create that texture and volume. If you like your back combing, you can use that as well. But that's going to also set, now you can see how nice and touchable and soft it still remains. So there's never any hard, crunchy plastics in here whatsoever. So again, we're going to go ahead. I've put my texture spray into the hair, and I'm just going to split this in half. And I'm going to topsy tail it right through, and then we're going to go ahead and pull up the edges as we go. We'll even pull up the middle one just to give it some additional texture, and I may even just cinch that right at the bottom. We're going to go ahead and pick up another couple of pieces here all the way around to the back, and we'll leave a few pieces in the front, so I just pull those as I go. You're going to go ahead and take your next slice. Now, one of the things I always like to point out is that instead of working straight down or vertically, I always work around the curve of the section. So in order to curve around the crown area, I'm going to curve around the side too. And we're going to go ahead and take another elastic. We're going to go ahead and work about 2 inches down. And I'm just securing it lightly with the elastic, coming in between. Make sure that you get your texture spray in there. I also love to expand with the dry oil spray too, so that one you can use as well. We're going to go ahead and take that hair, flip it through. The way you would decide, or at least how I decide, is if the hair has a really, really tight cuticle and it's really slippery and shiny, I like to use my texture paste or texture spray. If I have hair that is maybe more coarse and really dry, I like to use the dry oil spray. Both work beautifully for expansion, and we see a lot of people using it for different things there. So again, I'm going to find, here's in my ridge line. So we're going to go ahead and take our next section, but I am going to drop another little piece here as well. So again, I like to do sometimes right up at the top where the part line is, but I typically will like to go ridge line, temple, and corner. So we'll take another one. We're going to go ahead and work here. If you're just joining us, I know we see like some people jump off, some people jump on. Make sure that you're commenting below. And I'm a little blind, so it's a little hard for me to see because I don't have my glasses on today. But I've got Jackie Yoakum here in the chat box. She's helping me out with questions, as well as make sure that you're commenting below because we're giving 3 sets, complete sets of the blowout system away. So I've split that hair. I've gone ahead and we're going to topsy tail it. And you can also see Jackie put in our Vimeo channel. This is such great value, guys. If you want to learn more about Surface and you want to learn more about the blowout system and really own that information, because I share a lot. With that, you can go ahead to our Vimeo channel, and there's over 200 videos there, including all the videos we did during our COVID shutdown as well. And there's lots there for you to be able to learn. So we'll take one last section here. I'm just coming underneath where the line will live. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to pick up any more there. But we're going to take this right back to the bottom. So again, I like to work with my dry oil spray to be able to infuse that hair with the moisture. We'll go ahead and we'll take an elastic. We're going to work about 2 inches apart from each other. And we really only need about 1 more of these to finish. So we're just going to take that, turn it in. We're going to go ahead and find the middle and flip it through. So give it that little bit of a topsy tail. Yeah, maybe 1 more. We'll see. All right, texture spray is going to be your best friend here, especially if that cuticle is tight. And then you can be able to really start to separate and push that line out and away. So now we can go ahead and we can open it anywhere we want to at this point, and we're just going to lay it right over the top and give it that really nice little boho finish or detail to it. Now you saw the beautiful waves we created here as well. So we're just going to put our pin in, and we're just going to go ahead and dress that a little bit. And this is where we'll finish up with our dry oil spray. Now, if you need any added texture anywhere, that's when you get out your texture spray, because it will just infuse that hair. So if I was to have my guest turn upside down, in fact, I'm going to do it for you just because, why not? So if I go ahead and I take and I mix this with my texture spray and give it a flip, you can see just how much even more volume I'm going to have with that. And my hair is so fine, and it really works well on all hair types. I have one more trick for you if you guys want to see it. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Share down below what you love to see more of. Make sure that you're commenting below so that we can help give away those 3 sets of blowout, because 3 lucky people are going to win. And I've got one more little updo for you. Before I do that, I'm just going to share one more time how we use blowout. So you have your components with your shampoo and conditioner, and this is going to prepare the hair for styling. When you smell this, you're going to absolutely love the smell of it. It's lychee berry, the maracuja oil, which infuses the hair with shine and bounce and volume. And then we have the cannabis sativa seed oil that is rich in omega-6s. This goes deep into the cortex of the hair where we need that moisture to live, because we're going to be able to hydrate the inside of the hair. And that's going to be most important with your style memory. One of the things we teach, or we've learned through school when we went back in beauty school, is the hydrogen bonds live deep in the hair. And when we wet the hair down or we apply heat to it, those hydrogen bonds separate. And so at that point, the hair becomes vulnerable to lose its shape or style. It doesn't have any memory at that point until those are completely cooled or until they're locked back in place and dry. So when we're using the blowout system, the dry oil spray, the texture spray, they're completely dry. So they're not disturbing anything that we've already put into the hair. So once we've shampooed and conditioned, we have our primer that goes into the hair wet, and then you can use it again at about 75% dry, or so that you can be able to prepare that round brushing. You're going to love it for your round brush. You're also going to love it for that longevity that we get. So your guests are going to love it too. Their 3-day blowout's going to last 5 days. Their 5 days going to last 7 days. I'm usually about 1 to 2 days max, and I can go almost a week now with the blowout system. I use my dry oil spray at night. So when I first do my blowout, I'll mist it with the dry oil spray, and then that way it holds that style for me. I use my texture spray wherever I want texture and volume. And then at nighttime, I'll use there's a great little hot tip. I'll mist my hair with my dry oil spray. I mist my scalp with my dry shampoo. That way in the morning when I get up, I'm telling you, my hair looks still great in the morning. And I do that each night before I go to bed. And then I don't have to touch any of my curls up. It's been absolutely wonderful. So I've got one more thing here to show you. And with that, we've created a little bump here in the middle, and I didn't backcomb any of this either. I used my texture spray. When I set this, I set everything to the middle because I want everything to fold into the center. And then with the top here, I worked everything down. So there was nothing that was gone to the center. I'm always working in the direction that I want the hair to move. So with that, I created in the crown a little bit of an elastic here where we'll just push up and pull the edges however you want them. And then we're just going to leave this space right in the middle. So I've separated it into 2 sections. We've created one braid already that has the sides dropped out of it. So now we're just going to do the opposite side. The only real key here, or trick here, is to be able to make sure that you are taking about the same size sections. And so I'll come back over to this side. And to prepare the hair, we're going to go ahead and use our Trinity Dry Shampoo here right at the base. Again, protecting it from oils happening rather than soaking up oils. And then we're using our dry oil spray to be able to prepare the hair for touching. So now that I'm working through it, I'm going to go ahead and mist that in. So I'm going to go ahead and work in just little slices around, making sure I'm kind of following that curve or that shape of the section that I want. Now on the opposite side, we always started with the outside first and then the opposite moving into the center. So it's just a simple French braid, taking the outside, coming in, and then the opposite. And then we're going to start picking up. When I did the other side, I started on the outside. So Don't start only on the left. Just be aware of outside, not left or right. So now split a little bit of that piece off. I usually take about half of it, and we're just going to kick it away. We're going to take our next section here. Again, I'm trying to mind how many sections I took on the opposite side. We're going to add to each, again, working from the outside, crossing over, then the inside, crossing over. We're going to split that in half, get that out of the way. We're going to take our next slice, following the shape. We're going to add to one side, then we're going to add to the opposite. Outside first, inside, and split. Drawing the hair in the back the way I want it to move so that it's always going in that right direction. If you want a little piece down, you can pull right at the corner, the temple, even into the ridgeline. And we're going to go ahead and split, add, and hang on to those. We're going to go ahead and left side or the outside, then the middle. We split in half, get it out of the way. So you're always working with 3 pieces, 2 passes. Don't pick up the hair from the ponytail in the middle. You want to leave that hanging. I'll show you in just a second. And we go outside, inside, split, get that hair out of the way. Outside, we're going to take that section, we're going to split. Now, one thing too here is that I will make sure that I tighten these all up for you, and we'll have those pictures ready to go so that you can see them completely finished and in their finest. We're going to go ahead and split. I tend to work quickly, which is good because it makes things nice and simple. All right, so we're going to go ahead and split the last section. We add, we're going from the outside to the center, inside to the center, we split. Now, once you get down to the bottom, you're going to start splitting on the bottom. So outside, inside, split. And again, I take about half of it. Outside, inside, split. Outside, inside, split. Don't go down all the way because we want to leave some nice loose ends. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our final section in the middle and we're going to connect all the dots. So we're going to take all of our pieces down into the front or in the back. Make sure that if you want to cinch that up, you can. Get your section ready. Now the very first 2 on the top, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our texture spray and our dry oil spray. So I'll use, again, dry oil spray to protect the hair while I'm working. The texture spray anywhere where I need to open it up. So we're going to go ahead and just tie this right around, and we're going to place a little pin here just so that it doesn't fall away from me. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start and I'm going to split this ponytail into 3 pieces, adding in the 2 at the top. So you're going to go underhand now, so you're going to work right side, then your left. You're going to start picking up the sections from the outside. So outside, outside, underhand, underhand. Then you're going to pick up the next one. So that's why you want to make sure that they stay pretty even. So underhand, underhand. Now as I start to get about to the middle, we're going to go ahead and start working with our texture spray. Now the dry oil spray is really protecting the hair as I'm starting to work. So as I start to open that up a bit, we're going to have some nice shape that's going to melt into the other. So these were inside braids. The center one is a Dutch braid. So underhand, underhand, underhand. Keep adding as you go, picking those all up. And then as we get to the bottom, we're going to marry them all together. So underhand, underhand. If ever you feel your hands are getting dry, make sure that you have your hands protected as well. My favorite is to use our shine wax because it really keeps my hands hydrated so that I'm not stealing anything from the hair. We're going to go ahead and pick up those next ones. And I didn't pull them all the way down, so I want to make sure that as I'm going, that if I want to start connecting in the middle a little bit. Okay, we're going to go ahead and leave those ends nice and loose. We're going to place our elastic and we're going to start opening this braid a little more so that it blends. So we want to start with our dry oil spray, again protecting that hair. Then we can come in with our texture spray. This is really going to help me open this braid up. I'll start to massage those ends as well as I'm going to go ahead and start to kind of stretch it a bit. On the opposite sides, you want to go ahead and open out both sides of the braid. You want to open up a little bit in the middle as well so that they really start to blend. So as you do that, we're going to start pulling up in the middles. My rule of thumb is always only pulling up on the outsides, but I want this to kind of blend in and start to pull up and blend. So we would go ahead and fix this in. And it is, I love that behind the chair, they said, so important to keep it moisturized. It's definitely huge key in order to keep those ends to be able to look beautiful when you're finished. So here we can go ahead in with our dry oil spray. Remember, it's infusing the inside of the hair with moisture, which is where the hair loses it. And when it loses that, that means that now we have no curl left. So you want to make sure that we are hydrating that hair at all times. So you guys, blowout system. We have our blowout shampoo and our blowout conditioner. You guys are commenting below. Somebody's going to win three people are going to win a set of the blowout system. Shampoo and conditioner prepares the hair for styling. You have your primer that starts in that memory, makes the hair dry 30% quicker, giving us a longer lasting blowout. Our dry oil spray and our texture spray, these two are amazing for rehydrating the hair, resetting it. I like to think of it as a reboot to the curl as it lasts and lasts and lasts. And then your texture spray for infusing the hair with texture and volume. I know that you guys are going to absolutely love the blowout system. It's going to take your blowouts to a whole nother level. Your guests are going to love it because their blow dries are going to last and last and last. And you guys, for more information, you can find us on surfacehair.com. You can find us on our Vimeo channel, as Jackie put in the comments below, to be able to see over 200 videos worth of education. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. It's Dawn Mckee Surface Hair. And you guys, I want to say thank you to Behind the Chair for letting me be a part of this today and to be able to share our blowout system with you. And with that, guys, I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Thank you so much for having me, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.